Have you ever heard of anything quite as dumb as jumping out of a perfectly good airplane? Well, I actually did that about 25 years ago, before I got married, of course. And I remember my roommate was an avid skydiver, had over 1,000 jumps under his belt, and I was in my early 20s and just thinking I wanted to do this. And so I remember going down to the skydive location with him. I got trained, and we ended up getting in the airplane and heading up towards heaven, 13,000 feet above the ground. And I was so excited because it just sounds so exhilarating to be able to fly. And I remember as we were in the airplane getting ready to do our jumps, the guy that was with us, he ends up opening up the door in order for us to jump out. And it was at that time when he said, he asked me to step out onto the wing, that I realized something that I hadn't given much thought to up to that point. And that was the fact that I am utterly terrified of heights. And so literally I'm being asked to step out on this wing, and my heart is pumping through my chest. I could hardly breathe, and the only thing I wanted to do is get back into the airplane and head back home. But I couldn't. You see, because my roommate hadn't jumped yet. He was still in the airplane waiting for me, and I just thought to myself, I can't go back a coward. And literally, I had a really brilliant idea. I thought, I would rather die jumping out of this airplane than going home a coward and living with him being a coward. And so I ended up jumping out of the airplane, and I tell you, when I took that dive, I was going down at 120 or 30 miles an hour, and it was the most exhilarating experience I've ever experienced. And then I remember when I got down to, 3,000 feet, maybe 3,500 feet, you're supposed to pull the chute. I pulled the chute, and that's a whole nother incredible experience because it feels like you're going back up about 120 miles an hour. And I'll never forget that time. I ended up jumping probably 9 or 10 more times, and I got licensed, but then it gets expensive to be a skydiver, and then one thing that led to another that was really good, and I ended up getting married, and I just decided to settle down a little bit in life. And the reason I start this week's episode off with that particular story is because I have finally found a way to get myself back up in the air, and I don't have to jump out of a perfectly good airplane to do it. You see, I just had a birthday recently, and I was blessed with a Mavic Air 2 drone. This is something that I've wanted for quite some time because I want to be able to take you guys with me when I visit these epic places and do landscape photography and wildlife photography. I wanted to be able to have an aerial view from a drone so that I could bring you into the environment and give you a better feel for what I'm experiencing when I'm out in the great outdoors. And so I am really looking forward to this week's episode. What I plan on doing this week is quite simple. I just want to do an unboxing of my drone. It is actually the Mavic Air 2 Fly More, so I actually was blessed with a drone along with some accessories and some other goodies with it. And so we're going to unbox that in this week's episode and really hopefully give you a beginner's guide from a beginner's point of view on how easy and user-friendly it is. I've been doing a lot of research prior to being blessed with this drone, and I've been doing a lot of research since, and it seems like it's going to be pretty user-friendly for me. But what I want to do now is I want to switch gears and go into what I call my home studio mode, where I change things around in order to do an overhead view for you of my unboxing. So let's go ahead and do that. As I switch over to my other studio layout, I thought I would put it on video for those of you who might want some ideas on space saving. I have a backdrop attached to the wall above my closet doors. I also have a folding table that I use to put products on. And as you can see, I am using 2 soft boxes for this unboxing. And I have a light stand that I put for overhead views. And I'm attaching a Joby Gorilla Pod with an iPhone tripod attachment to record video overhead. and I have links to all of these items in the description below. And lastly, before I do the unboxing, I wanted to tell you that I also decided to show you my first test flight the next morning, which will come immediately after the unboxing. So please be sure to stick around for that. I really had a great time, and I hope you enjoy the footage. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do the unboxing. Before I open the case up, I want to first mention that there is also a thin cardboard box inside of it. And when you open up this box, you'll find one of the 2 sets of propellers, as well as the literature for your Mavic Air 2. Once you open your bag up, you'll notice there's a zipper pouch on the top. Inside, you will find 3 cables that are included. There's an RC cable, which is a standard micro USB cable. There is also a USB-C Lightning cable. And lastly, an RC cable, which is a USB Type-C cable. In addition to the cables, there is also a single battery charger. There are also 3 DJI filters that come with it as well. And lastly, there are also spare control sticks for the remote control. The next thing we see here is the battery charger along with the AC power cable. On the power charger, you can see that this is where you plug in the AC power cable, and right here is a USB port, and the USB port is to charge the remote control while you're charging the batteries for the drone. The next thing in the bag are 2 of the 3 batteries that come with the Mavic Air 2 Fly More combo. These are intelligent flight batteries, and they offer about 28 to 34 minutes of life per flight, which is really good. The next thing we see here is the battery charging hub, which allows you to charge 3 batteries at one time. The next thing we see is the remote control, and in the upper left corner is the functions button. And in the upper right corner is the shutter button for taking pictures. Right here is where the control sticks go, and here is where you store the control sticks for safekeeping. This here is the USB-C plug-in where you charge your remote control from. And here is the return to home button on the left. And in the center here we have the tripod, normal, and sport modes. And then over to the right of that is the power on and off button. And as we look at the top of the remote control, we can see that it has the video record button on the right side, as well as the gimbal control on the left side. And then in the center here is the cell phone holder. And the cell phone holder just pulls out like this, and then your cell phone just clips in. Okay, last but certainly not least, we have the compact, feature-packed DJI Mavic Air 2. When folded down, the Mavic Air 2 fits nicely in the palm of your hand. When you unfold the drone, you will want to unfold the front arms first, and the reason for this is because if you do the back ones first, you won't be able to open the front ones. Now, some of the reasons that I purchased the Mavic Air 2 is because it comes equipped with the obstacle avoidance sensors on the front, rear, and bottom of the aircraft. There's an auxiliary light with additional sensors which can be activated from the controller, and that's located on the bottom to assist with landing in challenging conditions such as low light environments. This is how you get the battery on and off. You just squeeze the 2 buttons here and you can pull the battery off, and you just push it back down, and when you hear the snap, you know that the battery is attached properly. Here is where the SD card goes. And on the opposite side of the drone is a little USB Type-C adapter, and that's where you plug in if you want to pull the data off the internal memory on the drone. And anytime you fly the drone, you want to pull this plastic cover off the gimbal head. This is just a protective cover for when you're traveling. Well, that's going to do it for the unboxing, and I want to thank you for joining me for this. If you want to hang around a little longer, I am going to go take this Mavic Air 2 out for a test drive and see how I do. Hey, well, here we are outside. I found a place that is kind of a bit off the grid from where I live, outside of my city. And I'm here for my first test flight. This isn't going to be a review as much as it's going to be how well did I do my homework prior to coming out for my first flight. So what I'm going to do right now, as you see, my Mavic Air 2 is on the ground there. I've got it ready to go, so I'm going to just see if I could get it to lift off. I'm going to just try to let it do an auto lift off, and then after that I will set it down. And now after I turn it, I am going to just land it, and right here is automatic land. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so it doesn't go right back to the helo pad. So I'm going to bring it back up and back it up a little bit. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. All right, so there's a button right here you're supposed to press, and that's for the takeoff. And here we go. So it's going to come up and go back a little.